Hi everyone, welcome to UTV Gooner and our show, A Shooting Lone Star with Ram from the Austin Gooners. Yes, bro, how are you?
I'm good, man. Big win for us this week, right? And um, yeah, all is well over here in Austin. We're pretty excited and ecstatic and all the words you want to use, man, for the upcoming season. 37 games to go, ready to overreact already. And yeah, man, let's get into it. I'm ready.
Yeah, bro, so perfect start. We knew it was going to be a difficult game. We lost there last season 3-0. It's away from home. We know what the atmosphere is like. First game of the season. We were playing on a Friday night. All eyes were on us. We had our new signings, three players making their debuts as well. Went really well, especially that first half. What were your thoughts on the game?
Yeah, man. I was I went from I remember we talked about it last week how I've gone at the beginning of summer. I was worried about that game, and I'm sure a lot of fans were feeling the same way, right? Especially the way we ended the season, how Crystal Palace basically handled us, or effectively ended our season, or at least started the trajectory of ending the season. And by the time we were end of preseason and ready to go, I kind of felt like I had a complete 180, and but I also still had a reservation in my head, like thinking, even though we did have a turnover of about three or four players in that previous starting 11, um, I still feared that we'd have like that mental block. Like you see teams, especially young teams, going back to places that they haven't had a lot of success in. Um, you see them maybe struggle a little bit. Uh, so I think with all that being said, the fact that we ended up winning 2-0, lots of good, maybe not as much bad. Wasn't a perfect win, but the result is exactly what we're hoping for. The score line is nice. It's good to get some goals, especially early. Like I was really happy that we scored early on and got on the board first, and then sort of had to be the team to defend our lead. Um, and for the most part, as I said, like this is a young team that was still getting over, or is going to have to get over a lot of the mental blocks that kind of prevented us from achieving what we hoped to achieve last year, right? So, and this was just step one, right? In 37 more games to go. But something I was saying, like toward the end of the match, like in the 85th, right before we scored that second goal, I kept saying like this looks like a team that is still fighting that. Not only are they going against a really disciplined and strong Crystal Palace team, like got to give them credit, but you can see there was still that I don't know what the word is, like just uneasiness on our end, just trying to get over that hump. And you could tell, finally when we were able to get that goal. Granted, it was an own goal, but I felt like we earned it. Um, you could just see it in the players' faces and the way they celebrated that. Just a big relief. And at the bar, same thing. Everybody was so excited. And, at the 85th minute, it was like, all right, time to celebrate. We got the victory because, we felt the way we understood, we were sympathizing with what these players are going through. It's one of those, things we're going to probably see a lot throughout the entirety of the season, is especially in games that we gave up. When we end up playing Brighton again, it's going to probably be the same thing. Like here's a team that handled us late in the season. It might not be as easy as we hope to be, but hopefully we squeak out a result. Something that the commentators, at least in the U.S. side, were saying was like, you can't always win a game 4-0, and as great as it is to win a game like 3-0, 4-0, and how much confidence you build, there is something to say about some of these really, really close games where you're just fighting tooth and nail to defend your lead, and then you finish, it's a 1-0 or 2-0 win, right? So this is again one of those kinds of games that maybe last year, we drop points and we end up drawing, or if it's a catastrophic afternoon, we end up losing 2-1, you know? So the fact that we were able to push off Palace and get that second goal for ourselves, huge deal, man. So as even though it wasn't a pretty win, like there's still a lot to be excited about. Most importantly, the fact that we got the 3 points. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure, bro. Starting with 3 points was the most important thing. The first half was really encouraging. Yeah, as you said, second half we did struggle. You could say a bit of nerves coming into it, and we know it's still early in the season, so it's going to take some time for everything to gel. We had three players making their debuts, as I say, so let's talk about them now. Start with Saliba. Your thoughts on his performance?
Man, I hate to. Well, I just said that I'm ready to overreact, and yeah, somebody I'll overreact about is William Saliba, man. Everything I was hoping for in his debut, man. Like as I've mentioned, as we've talked about, like it was great that he went out on loan. He got 52 games under his belt last year. He wouldn't have gotten that in the 3 years previous, probably combined. Maybe some, but then you also worry about like, what happens if he gets destroyed or whatever like that? Like, what does that do to his mental state? So now that he's a little bit more mature, 21 years old, I mean, still young, right? Obviously, but man, it was there was a one play that stuck out in my mind. Ben White defending Zaha one on one, which I'll also throw in there. Like I thought Ben White did a pretty solid job, but he was going one on one against Zaha. Zaha probably uh, beat him and started pushing the ball toward the box, and then all you just see is William Saliba just slide in out of nowhere, kick the ball out of bounds, allows the defense to reset. Um, he just looks so composed, not taken aback by the environment, by the occasion. He looked ready to go, man. So I think now it's his position to lose. I think whatever we got to figure out as far as the back four is concerned, I think Saliba's earned his starting spot just off that one game. If we're going by game basis, right? Like, okay, you played good today. There's no reason why you shouldn't be in the starting lineup against Leicester.
Yeah, for sure. I thought it was an outstanding performance of him. We've seen him do so well out in Marseille, getting into the French national team and in pre-season, but to see him play so well in his debut for us when it's serious business now, it's not pre-season no more. And he's shown what a good defender he is. He's got all the attributes. Let's hope he's gonna go on and have a great career for us. We've got to get him tied down to that contract really soon, offer him whatever money he's asking for, get him on that long-term contract.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And I think from all from all indications, it sounds like he's willing to, at the very least, listen and probably end up signing with us for long term. I did hear him in an interview, or at least read somewhere quoting him that he knew he needed to work on his game and get some games under his belt. Um, Obviously, maybe in the past it was a little bit different. I think maybe we certainly did mess up a little bit. There was, when we just brought him in, we took a little bit too long in sending him out, like to Saint Sonentian, or however you say that. I butchered that really badly, but the first loan he went out on, I think we held on to him a little bit too long, and fair play, like understood, like yeah, that the club kind of did him wrong on that end, but it seems that everything is, bygones are bygones. They buried the hatchet, whatever, all that good stuff, and now it's the focus is on here and now. You're part of the plans moving forward. We got a lot of games to go, and we've got you know, a big finish line to reach after. So I'm pretty confident that we'll be able to keep him long term.
Yeah, for sure. Let's hope we can get him tied down to that long-term contract. So another player that made his debut for us against Palace was Zinchenko in at left back. Had a good game. It was really dangerous going forward. We can see he's going to bring a lot to our attacking play. What are your thoughts on his performance?
Yeah, as you said, really good going forward. Had that really sweet header for an assist over to Martinelli, which again eased a lot of pressure off the whole team. Um, had us playing in the front foot from the start. Um, Couple of lapses on the defensive end, but again, that's not his main strength. And I think it just has a lot to do with, as a whole, I think the defensive unit still has a lot of work to do. If you think about our preseason, we didn't really have a lot of close games. Um, we kind of smashed every team that we played against, and the team that we did have a close game against, Orlando City, we started a lot of backups. So I think this unit that we have at least, and then also Tomiyasu's been out, Kieran Tierney. Um, so I still think we have a lot to work on the defensive end, but there's also still a lot to like about how we played defensively. And so Zinchenko sort of is representative of that as well. Like he looked good in some spots, looked a little bit shaky in some spots as well, but I think overall his performance was there's a lot to enjoy about it. And again, he's hit the ground running coming into this team, and a lot of it probably has to do with his familiarity with Arteta. Um, and I think that just overall the tangibles um, are gonna bode well for us while he starts getting his feet under him and his fitness right, and just kind of gets used to his the guys in front of him and the guys next to him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. As I was saying, it's going to take some time for the players to gel and get to know each other's games. It's good that we've got the players in early. We always leave it till very late. So, this is good that we can start with the new signings already getting into the team. And, that chemistry will build, working together as a back four that involves time and playing together, understanding each other's games. So it's going to take some time defensively, but I thought it was really positive to see his attacking play. We know that's his strong point. And yeah, let's hope he can have a really good season too. So the third player that was making his debut for us was Gabriel Jesus. That's really lively in the first half. Didn't have any chances or like shots on goals, but it's not going to score every game, as we know. But it's looking very positive. We were seeing the way he was pressing. It looks sharp. So let's hope he's going to have a great season as well. Your thoughts on his performance?
Yeah, very similar kind of impact that I think Zinchenko had in terms of the intangibles, right? Like so, as you said, right? No real shots on goal. But where I think he did have an impact and an influence is setting everybody else up, and with the pressing, with just the flow of our offensive attack, just looks so much better and much more enjoyable to watch, right? Aesthetically pleasing, but also just again, we were on the front foot early on. I mean, we could have scored in the second minute, right? When he had that nifty little move inside the box, took it in, and then passed it off to Martinelli. And Martinelli just, I mean, if he was just a much better finisher, or just this much of a better finisher, he was finishing that. We were up 1-0 with 2 minutes in. Um, and then there's another one where Jesus kind of, made a break and passed it off to a wide open Odegaard, who the entire bar was like, shoot it, let's go. And he passed it off to Martinelli. But one encouraging thing about that, although, he didn't shoot it and you want him to, but you could see the body language and the communication between Gabriel Jesus and Odegaard, and Jesus basically telling them like, bro, shoot the ball. Like that's for you, right? Like, come on. Who cares? Like, and my big thing with watching football is sometimes you just gotta fucking shoot the ball. Like, who knows what happens if you get a handball or a deflection, or you just make the goalie sweat a little bit, have them thinking like, oh god, these guys are coming after me. Anybody's gonna start shooting it. So so it's all part of that psychological thing. Like, hey man, just get the ball and make the goalie work. And or sometimes he might like it might deflect it and miss it, man. I've seen that happen a lot too. So and especially after the game, I actually even noticed after the game had ended, uh Odegaard and Jesus, talking to each other. So again, they're figuring each other out, but I think the influence is there. I think over time we're going to see a little bit more confidence from Martinelli and a little bit more confidence from Odegaard, and I think those guys, I think a little bit more of a confident finish would have knocked the goal in made it 1-0 with 2 minutes. And Odegaard, who knows if he makes the shot or not, but would like to see him shoot when he's open like that. And if he makes it, amazing, right? We got a golazo. And if he doesn't make it, whatever. I just want to see shots on goal, and something's going to go in, right? Um, but I thought overall, I think Gabriel Jesus is going to be an outstanding addition, and he's already kind of made differences, not necessarily on the score sheet, but just overall with the way we looked as an offense.
Looking forward to seeing him get a lot of goals for us this season. Got to give a special shout out to Ramsdale. Couple of amazing saves. That's what you need from your goalkeeper in games like that. If they scored, that could have turned the whole game. But he was
Yeah,
there when he was needed. And that header was like point blank range. So great reactions for him to save it.
yeah, he had a great game as far as saves are concerned. A couple of little, you know, brain dead moments. That's probably not the best word to use, but just a couple of brain fart moments, if you will. Um, but we recovered, so you just kind of use that as film fodder when you're in the locker room, saying like, "Hey, what were you thinking? Let's fix that." We ended up with the results, so it's okay. But again, first game of the season, I think our defense probably needs the most work in terms of like again everybody gelling, everybody getting challenged a little bit more. Again, we were winning preseason matches 5-3, 3-0, 4-0, whatever. So there's a lot to be desired from a lot of these players, but at the same time, there's a lot to be excited about. And I don't think really anybody had a bad game overall. I'd probably say maybe if anybody, yeah, you know what? Honestly, like if I'm trying to be nitpicky, even can't really think of anybody that didn't have a really good game. It was a good overall performance.
Yeah, it was. And it's really exciting now for the season. Optimistic. We knew we had a good preseason, we had a good transfer window, but to see us do so well when it was showtime, the real business started, and we've gone out, played well in the first half, got the win, and it's really looking positive now. Let's hope we can get a couple more players in. It's gone a little bit quiet on the transfer front now in terms of players coming in. We know in terms of selling players, Torreira's gone to Galatasaray. Murray's gone on loan, and Berlin, not sure what's happening with him. It's looking like we might be cancelling his contract. That one seems like it should be get resolved soon as well. So that would be three players out, and we're hoping that's now going to open up the space to get some players in. So, what's your thoughts on how it's looking in terms of us getting players in now?
Yeah, man. As I kind of predicted, very easy to predict that. Yeah, the next few steps or the next few pieces of news that we were going to make was outgoing players, and that's been the case. So I'm pretty encouraged about that. Still got about 3 weeks until the transfer window closes, right? The end of the month. Um, Tielemans, from what I understand, Leicester. I mean, it looks like we as a club have the upper hand. Leicester is in basically a little bit desperate to sell. We not so much. So maybe we're playing a little bit of hardball to kind of get the price a little bit lower. I like that tactic. I'll take that just because we have kind of spent a good amount of money already. Another player that actually came up um, is he plays at Villarreal over in La Liga. Jeremy Pino is a winger, 19 years old. Arsenal, and I think maybe I don't know if there's another club, maybe Man City, Liverpool, maybe one of the other big clubs. But we're definitely been named and linked with him. I don't know anything about him other than he's a young guy. Villarreal is, I guess, a pretty solid team. Not quite sure about. I haven't. I watch La Liga, but I don't really know about that team very well. It would be. I think it would be a solid signing, but maybe not necessarily what they're asking for. I think they're asking for somewhere around the range of 45 million. So who knows what's going to happen? I think with that price, it might maybe limit um, our incomings to maybe one player, and maybe a lot of us kind of hoping for two. So we'll see. I'm not quite sure though, so I'll just take it one day at a time. But I think I'm pretty happy with the squad we have right now. Although I would hope for one more signing. Two would be amazing, but one we'll get it. But I'm also not like I don't want it to happen tomorrow. I like the pace at where all this business is going, so it is what it is for now.
Yeah, there's still quite a while left in the transfer market, so it might be a case of we've got quite a few negotiations going, and we're just leaving it until towards the end to try and get the best possible deal. It seems that way with the Tillman situation. The way that we've been talking, we're saying that we're happy to wait till next season, possibly when his contract runs out, if Leicester are not going to agree to the price we want to pay. So it seems like a lot of negotiations are going on, and it might be one of those where we have to wait until right towards the end of the transfer window. But the good thing is that we've got the majority of our business done early. So yeah, let's hope we can get some more transfer business done, and looking forward to seeing how this season goes. Let's talk now a little bit about how the other teams have gone on the weekend. So let's start with Man United. I got my prediction right. I said to you, I feel Brighton will beat them. I said to you, I don't think it'll be too much of a shock as well. I think it will be quite comfortable for Brighton, and it was. They played
Yeah.
well, 2-0 up. Man United looked really poor. They got a lot of issues going on there at the moment. We know there's issues with Cristiano Ronaldo. There seems to be a lack of unity there, and they seem like they're going to struggle this season. They've got the new manager in. He's highly rated, but he's got a difficult job there. What was your thoughts on their game?
I gave them way too much credit. I was surprised. I might have said maybe a draw or something like that, maybe squeak out a winner, but they got utterly dominated, man. Brighton, Brighton, Brighton took it to them and looked like the world class team that you would expect Manchester United to be, right? Nobody looked like they were interested in playing with each other for each other. Same stuff as last year. Same problems that plagued them. It looked like nothing had changed. Granted, it's a lot of the same players. And on top of that, brand new manager, new system, new ideas just may not seem to be working right now. Um, yeah, so it was quite enjoyable to watch a rival struggle the way they did. Ronaldo came in, maybe injected a little bit of life. I mean, he is essentially the greatest player in the world. Uh, but again, a little bit of an older guy, so not quite as influential as he's been in the past. I think a younger Ronaldo probably ends up pulling out the win. Although it would have been like something I was talking to with a friend of mine, like who's a United fan. I asked him like, you think it would have been good if they ended up winning 3-2 with Ronaldo scoring like two or three or a hat trick or something like that. And it was weird what he said. He was like, honestly, I think that would have been bad for United because then it would have just continued the circus and continued like it's going to continue and just kind of raise the scrutiny, right? Because it seems like it's only Ronaldo that shows up to play, and he's the one that doesn't even want to be there. Essentially, if you believe in all the accounts in the media and stuff like that. So I'm rooting for, again, it's a long season, so you never know what happens. But I'm rooting for the continued demise of United, and that just means one less team that we have to worry about in our pursuit for the top four. So I'm glad it happened to them. Not a better team that great team for this to happen to.
Yeah, for sure. Let's hope they really struggle this season. A couple of other teams, you say, are our main rivals for the top four, did get wins. So Tottenham, I was hoping Southampton might be able to do something there, and we did go ahead. At that point, I thought, okay, it's looking good, but then Tottenham had too much for them. They're looking good. Got to say, they got 4 goals, looks strong. Chelsea, on the other hand, they kind of scraped their 1-0 win, but they got the 3 points. I expect them to get better. I expect them to buy some more players. So I think these two teams are going to be a big threat for us for the top four. What are your thoughts on their performances this weekend?
Yeah, Tottenham, as much as I hate to say it, and I will continue to hate to say it, they're a good team, man. They look well conditioned. As the game went along, they started to take over in terms of the physicality of it all, which is why they ended up winning what was it, 4-1 or something like that. Biggest question for them would just be, it is a long season. There's a lot of, World Cup as well. They also have Champions League that they have to compete with, along with all the other domestic cups. The big question is, with all the conditioning that they're doing and with all this emphasis on just being, all the running that they've been doing in the preseason, really getting well conditioned, are their legs going to hold up over time? That would be my only question. So I'm hoping that the answer is like, well, no. Hopefully they fall off over time, but they look strong. Chelsea, a little bit boring against Everton. Not a very appealing game to watch, but they scraped away with the win. They look like the better team. Their style's a little bit slower than if compared to us or Tottenham. So they played their game. They got the result. So, and as you said, they're probably going to buy some more players, see some more outgoings. So their team is going to look a little bit different in the next couple of weeks. And they've got a world class manager who's already brought a Champions League title to that squad. So I think I honestly, yeah, those two teams, and maybe a team like West Ham is gonna push us, but it might just be a three-team carousel for the third and fourth spot. To be quite honest, three teams for two spots. It might be. We'll see what happens.
I'm talking of West Ham, so they played Manchester City. I was watching that one, and wow, their striker Haaland, he looks really good. I was always thinking he's going to do really well this season. I said I think he'll be top scorer. I think he's going to be the difference for them to possibly win the Champions League as well now. And I think they're going to win the league quite comfortably because he is one hell of a player. And they've done so well already without having like an out and out striker like him in the team last season. They didn't want to play Jesus there. I don't know why that Pep didn't fancy playing him up there, but he's got Haaland in now, and he is going to play him as the out and out striker. And we saw that guy; he's a proper goal scorer. His record speaks for itself. And people were talking about, oh, he might struggle in the Premier League. It's a different league, but class is class. And when you got the supply line he has at Man City, for sure he's going to get a lot of goals. And I see him, like I say, being top scorer. And I'm not just after seeing the Liverpool game. It's early. Fulham played really well against Liverpool, but them dropping points, I don't think they're going to be as consistent as they were last season without Mane. Nunes did score, and he could be a really good player, but I think Haaland's just something special. And add that to an already really special Man City team, I think everyone's playing for second already.
Yeah, everything you said, I totally agree with. I watched a fair amount of Bundesliga and Dortmund when he was there. He's one of the very good player, one of the players I've grown to really love, and secretly wanted him to end up coming to Arsenal. Obviously, that was like a big pipe dream. I knew that wasn't going to happen. I was hoping he ended up going to like Real Madrid or something like that, just because I didn't want to see what we're going to see now, right? Like him just dominating the Premier League. As you said, class is class. That guy is on a whole nother level. He's just a physical beast. I don't know who's going to go up against him as to slow him down. Yeah, it sucks that he's with a team like Manchester City because they're probably going to win the league easily. Maybe struggle to push off Liverpool for a while, but I just don't see any team keeping up with him. Uh, the only way I don't see him scoring is if they don't play him enough, due to like the fact that they like to rotate, and of course they're going to be having their eyes on the Champions League as well. So I don't know, man. Hopefully, hopefully when it's our turn to play him, they decide to rotate and rest him, because they've got like a big Champions League game coming up afterwards or something like that. Just he's scary, man, and I'm not looking forward to going against him. But it is what it is, and it's a joy to watch him play. If you just kind of ignore the badge he has on his chest, you know.
Yeah, he's gonna score a lot of goals for sure, and he's in my fantasy Premier League team, so captain too. So I'm happy I got him in there. I think he's gonna score the most points this season by quite some way. Okay, so let's talk about All or Nothing series, Amazon documentary we've been waiting for. We saw some of the trailers, it looked really explosive. And yep, see the first 3 episodes on Thursday. It was really good to see some things that as fans we don't normally get the opportunity to see. So the behind the scenes stuff, the stuff that happens during before games in the training ground, but also during the games, half time, full time. It was amazing to see the passion of Arteta, I've got to say. He was under a lot of pressure after that start we had, and see how he handled it, how he carried himself. I was really happy to see how much you can see he loves the job, and he has a lot of love for the players and faith in the players. So yeah, I was really enjoying watching it. What were your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I'll preface all that by saying, or all what I'll say, like by saying, I've watched pretty much every All or Nothing series. The first 5 or 6 seasons they did American football. Um, so they followed a few American football teams through the season, and their season is 16 games plus the playoffs if they end up going to it. So I've been a real fan of what Amazon has done with those their sports documentaries. I have watched the Man City one, watched the Tottenham one, and then I'm currently also watching the Juventus one that they did. I think it was like 2 seasons ago or during the COVID season or last year actually. So um, I love what they do. I love how they get all the. It's not necessarily like for the intense fan, although as an intense fan, you're gonna probably end up watching it. It's definitely catered towards the casual fan who may not necessarily have a team, but just wants to see the inner workings and how that goes. So I, I've loved the first 3 episodes. Especially, you know, it hits a little bit harder when it's your team that you're wanting to watch week in and week out. And especially last season, given all the drama, the ups and downs, it was a true roller coaster season. Um, and a lot of people will say they're loving to make the joke, you know, all or nothing. Well, it looks like it was nothing. And yeah, like I don't really want to even get into that kind of thing, but you know, you really see everything that we were talking about and how we were almost spot on in a lot of cases, like a young team going through it. You know, you saw with players like Nuno Tavares, how he had just an incredible run of games and then just put up a stinker against Liverpool. And you saw the mental aspect and the human side of what these players are going through. Um, you know, you talk about Arteta, but you know, the ones that stuck out with me was when they were interviewing someone like Kieran Tierney, you know, who speaks English pretty well, who understands it, isn't that far away from home, but you know, you saw him talk about just how much he struggled in the Premier League and how difficult it was for him. And then you start thinking about these other cats like Nuno Tavares, maybe, or somebody who maybe doesn't have the same command of the English language and is a little bit younger. And, you know, you really, I don't know how to put this, like you really just become fans of these players as human beings. Even, you know, not to say that we weren't before, but it just kind of makes your love for the club and for the players even deeper. Um, and I love the banter that's going on, the memes that come out, like the pictures he was putting up with the heart and the brain. You know, you got to play with passion, with intelligence and energy. Um, and it's really, I'm really looking forward to the next 3 episodes that'll come out tomorrow. Uh, you know, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang is going to be the the centerpiece of I think a couple of or maybe one episode to kind of really let us know what happened with that captaincy thing and what how it all went down. And so I'm really interested to see what how that goes. Um, but for the most part, yeah, I think it does. Obviously, you know, another big critique is it's propaganda for the clubs that are producing it. But of course, if you were to watch any of the other ones that they've done, Tottenham's they're not intense. And that you know you can tell that they had a hand in making sure that Tottenham looked good. Man City, same thing. All the American football teams, same thing, right? We're not going to embarrass the franchise in front of essentially the whole sports world. But at the same time, like that's the whole point of these things, right? It's propaganda for the sport. It's propaganda for the teams. If you don't like them, you're gonna find something that you don't like about. You're gonna pick on them. You're gonna create the banter and talk shit. And if you do like them, you're gonna enjoy it. Or you might just not like this or not like that. You're gonna pick what you don't like, but it's presented how it is. Um, and for the most part, another part I liked. Um, I'll go off a little bit on this one, but the first Liverpool match. You saw a lot of chatter online criticizing Arteta about choosing to play "You'll Never Walk Alone" during a practice, but we're only seeing one practice throughout the whole week, and we're only seeing maybe a snippet of about who knows what 30 minutes maybe of the practice. So a lot of people are saying like, what is this going on? Like, what is he doing? Like, this is dumb. But I like that the player, like the coach is trying stuff to motivate his players and seeing what works, seeing what doesn't, and then going off and not being afraid to try new things. And when you think about how that game played out, for the first 50, 55 minutes, we were on them. Like we were toe to toe with them. And then it all just kind of crumbled with Nuno Tavares' mistake, right? And then it was 2-0. And then it was 3-0, 4-0. Before you know it, it ended. So yeah, I'm really, even though there's the losses and they hurt, of course, but I really liked. A lot of people are saying will that I've talked to have said like, oh, I hate reliving the first three games. I hate seeing that. I'm gonna skip the last episodes because we know how it ends. And I'm like, no, I want to see how we react to losses and how we how we grow this season from those things. I'll actually even quote a different all or nothing piece, but the Juventus one, the coach Pirlo, he said something like, "You love to win," or what does he say? You learn a lot from losing, but of course you love to win all the time. And this was after they had like a really bad loss. So as great as it is to relive the good moments, and I don't think it's bad to relive some of the bad moments. And I really enjoyed watching what they went through in the first three games and how they responded, what they went through a games against Liverpool and Everton and how they responded. And I'm looking forward to seeing what happens when Aubameyang gets kicked out of the club. And I'm also looking forward to seeing how we react to three straight losses at the end, starting with Crystal Palace, and just that really derailed our season. Um, because then it's going to put in context what we're going through this year as far as fans watching, and what the players are going through. So it's I can go on forever about this. We probably have a whole show react, to the documentary, man, because I love this about sport. Like I love just watching the inner workings, and we only see them in the games. We only read about their week, but to see it now, like in a documentary form, even though it's a little snippet and a little slice of what they go through week over week, it really just deepens your love for the club. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's great fun watching it, and I'm really looking forward to seeing on Thursday the next episodes come out. Exciting for sure, and excited for this weekend's fixtures now. So let's talk about first of all our game. We got Leicester at home. Let's talk about the lineup first. So, what would you look to do with the lineup?
Um, I think we go with the same exact lineup that we went against Crystal Palace. So Ben White at right back, William Saliba and Gabriel at center backs, and Zinchenko at left back. Um, but I do think, depending on how the games go, or whatever, yeah, I think we see a little bit more Tierney, and especially maybe a little bit earlier on. I don't think we didn't do substitutes until like the 82nd or 83rd minute. And credit to Eddie and Kedia. If you look back at our second goal, he was the one that kind of kick-started everything. Um, but anyway, yeah, I think we see a little bit more Tierney. I think this was just we're going to start easing him in a little bit more. So let's say he got what 10 minutes. I think maybe he gets 15 to 20 minutes going on, depending on how the game goes. But I think, and then I think the same thing goes with like someone like Tomiyasu. I think we put him in 15, 20 minutes just to kind of get their legs in the game and get back into the lineup. Because we do have five subs, right? Like that's the new thing for the season. But yeah, I think we go for the same lineup just because I don't think anybody earned a spot on the bench with their play. You know, I'll put it that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. It's a situation where we know Tommy Yasu is the first choice right back, but he's just getting back into playing again. He played one half for under 23s. He's been out for a long time, so maybe it is better to give him a bit longer. Same with Teeny as well. He's not really had much of a pre-season, so I can see that Arteta will probably go with an unchanged lineup, and they did so well in the last game. So let's hope they can do well again against Leicester now. Let's talk a little bit about Leicester. So first game of the season, they were 2-0 up against Brentford, but ended up drawing that one 2-2. We know there's not been too many incomings there. And in general, when you compare how they were playing last season to the seasons before, they were much poorer last season. And it doesn't seem like they're going to be much better this season. So, what's your thoughts on them, the threats they pose?
Um, my biggest thought with Leicester is, you know, they don't have a goalie, right? Casper Schmeichel abandoned them not that long ago. So I don't even know who their goalie is. I mean, Schmeichel's probably like their most class player or was, right? Let me see here. I'm gonna probably be a little bit of a delay on this one just because I'm pulling up their last game, 2-2 to Brentford. So Madison is someone that's always a little bit dangerous, especially also Jamie Vardy. Ah, damn it. Yeah, I forgot about that guy. That Jamie Vardy fella. Don't like him very much just because he's so scrappy and yeah, I hope he doesn't do anything like special with against us. But yeah, so yeah, they got some pretty dangerous guys up top. Tielemans, uh, I wonder if he's gonna come out here and just ball out against us and just be like, "Come on, guys, you want to sign me? Let's do it, or else I'm gonna beat your ass." Um, so yeah, who knows? It's gonna be a tough game, I think, but I think it's at home. We're gonna have a lot of momentum. I think if I had to predict a score line, though, I'm gonna probably go like 3-1, or if not, two. No, I'm gonna say 3-1. I think it's close. I think it's another one that we struggle with, but we also played against them very well last season. I think we did the double on them. We pulled off 6 points against them in two matches. So, um, yeah, I am correct. 2-0, 2-0 last season, 3-1 the year before. The last time they beat us was 1-0 in October of 2020. So yeah, three straight wins against them. I think we get another win overall. I just don't think I don't think Leicester is has the same kind of like excuse me momentum that we have on our end. So yeah, you never can tell with a guy like Jamie Vardy, and I think one of the last two matches he was out against us. So yeah, if he starts, you know, he's somebody I'm going to be worried about. But again, another test, just put Saliba on him. I think we can neutralize him. We'll see, man. 3-1. But I don't think, as I said last week, where I thought we were going to win with the convincing scoreline, but not necessarily like an easy game. I think the same way, 3-1. But I think it's going to be a difficult 60, 70, 75 minutes against them, and then we pull away at the end.
Okay, yeah, they got some dangerous players, as we know. The likes of Vardy often does well against us. Madison there, Tillemans might want to, as you said, put on a really good performance to help us convince us to like go and pay the money to get him now. It's gonna be an interesting game. I think we're gonna have too much for him, though. I see us the confidence we have from pre-season, the way the transfer window's gone, winning that first game. We're gonna be at home. As you said, great recent record against them as well. So I'm seeing a comfortable win. We're going to go for 2-0 for that one. Let's look at some of the other big fixtures for this weekend then. So there's a big one on Sunday. Chelsea are playing against Tottenham. Your thoughts and predictions on that one?
Oh man, that's gonna be a really big heavyweight match so early in the season. I'm definitely gonna tune in. Um, we'll see. I think very contrasting styles, right? Um, Tottenham really just like to push the cause and try to get in front of goal and make things happen with their big guys up front. They're going to get Richarlison back, who I think was suspended because of his little incident last season where he picked up a smoke flare or something like that and was throwing it around. So who knows if he'll start? He might just get some game time. Contrasting that with a very sort of slower style that Chelsea likes to do, kind of hold on to the ball, rock you to sleep, and then destroy you. So very contrasting styles. I'll be excited to see what happens. Um, and I hate to root for anybody in this match, so I'm just gonna say that they draw like 2-2. It'll be high scoring. I think Tottenham is going to be a very high scoring team, and I think Chelsea will be able to keep up with them. So 2-2 draw with them.
Okay, yeah, I think like you, be a draw, close match. Good result for us would be a draw. Both teams dropping points. Don't like either of them, so
Yeah, I don't
ideal.
want either to win.
Yeah, perfect result would be a draw. Let's talk about one more game of the weekend, then. So Man United now have got Brentford away. The form that they're in and all the stuff going around them, that's going to be a very hard game for them. Brentford, we saw last season ourselves, they're a good team, especially at home. They performed really well there against many of the big teams. So Man United are going to be for a difficult game. What's your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, let's see. Brentford was losing 2-0 against Leicester until the 62nd minute when they scored. Tony scored, and then the Silva scored at the 86th minute. So a team that plays their ass off against the bigger teams, steals some points at home. You saw what they did against us. Um, they're kind of a rocky team. They don't have Ericsson anymore, so it's kind of going to be interesting to see how they respond without him. They were sort of in a free fall until they brought him on, and they kind of saved themselves from relegation. And yeah, then a team like Manchester United, I don't know if they're going to be able to assert themselves against a team like Brentford, unless, of course, someone like what's his name, Ronaldo starts. I think he does start this time around. I think it's I don't know if I don't want to say that it's desperation mode, but they do need to have a good performance. So the pressure is going to be on them. I think Brentford will play a little bit more free flowing and a little bit more dangerous, if you will. I think United squeaks out a 2-1 victory against them. What do you think about this one? Because again, I feel like I'm giving them way too much credit, and you were correct in saying that they're going to get their ass beat. Do you think it's going to happen again? Do you think they're on the ropes?
Yeah, I think so. I think they're going to struggle. The atmosphere is going to be intense there. We know what it's like, small stadium, fans are right on top of them. Brentford are going to be really up for it. We saw it ourselves like last season. So it's not an easy place to go to. And way they're lacking that unity. In games like that, you need to have that unity and that ability to fight for each other, and I don't see that with them at the moment. So I'm going for another, what they would say is an upset, but I don't think it's that big upset. But yeah, I'm going for another loss of Man United. I'm going to go Brentford 2, Man United 1.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So yeah, it's great to have a Premier League back now. Exciting. We've got this all or nothing series as well to look forward to. So really looking forward to the next few days. Let's hope our boys can get that first home win here against Leicester on Saturday. I'm excited to speak to you about it next week, bro. As always, thanks for your time.
Yeah, man. Hope you feel better. Um, enough to have a few uh have a few Red Bull vodkas for the game on Saturday.
I
It's
hope,
gonna
bro.
be
I hope.
great. Yeah, and that's a 9 a.m. start for us, so I don't think I'm gonna be doing a whole lot of drinking early on because we've got Austin FC at 8 p.m. So it's gonna be a full day of football. Bet my favorite time of the year. So yeah, I'm looking forward to speaking with you on the WhatsApp during the game. I hope we put on another good performance, although I'm very confident we will. And looking forward to talking to you next week, bro.
Yeah, bro. I hope I should be better by Saturday. I started to feel bad from this morning. Normally
Yeah.
a couple of days should be enough time to recover. So yeah, hopefully I'm better by Saturday and I can enjoy the game. But yeah, bro, thanks. And that's all from us. Thanks for watching, everyone. Please remember to subscribe, like, and share.